Hey, welcome back. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish up doing all the animation for our spider today. And some of it's not going to be functional yet because we still have some additional blueprinting to do on both the spider and also on our character to be able to make things like the dying animation work and a few other things. So we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a second. If you're just joining me for the first time, again, you can get caught up by taking a look at my YouTube channel, Paul Fritz Animation. All the videos for this project are on there. I also show you where you can go to download some of these assets and to get started. So again, let's go ahead and get started. Where we left off last time was we had got it so that our spider actually has the animation for the walk animation, so it chases after us, and then once it catches up to us, it goes idle and does this little idle animation. Now what we're missing are the attack animation and the die animation. So let's go ahead and get started with those. First we're going to have to do is let's make a montage for our attack. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our spider animations, okay, and inside of our spider animation we're going to right click on here, and actually what we want to do is we want to find the attack that we're going to use, and I liked for this spider the attack 2 animation. We click on it, you can see it's kind of this little gnawing type thing, whereas if we went with the attack 1, sort of this lunge attack, either one will work, but because of the way the animation is working for this one, I went ahead and picked the other animation. So let's go ahead and go back to that animation. Animation 2, I'm going to right click on it, and then what I want to do is go up to create, and we're going to create an animation montage from this. Okay, so again, right click on it and go up to create animation montage. And I'm just going to go ahead and leave it the name that it is right now with montage at the end so that I know what this one is. I'm going to double click on this, and right now our spider is doing that little animation, and what I want to do is figure out where the best point is inside of this animation for the spider to actually notify that it's attacking me. So I don't want the whole process to be notified, just at a certain point. And what I think the best point is as it gets close enough to bite down on me with its pinchers, so kind of up and pinchers close, something like maybe around there. So right now at frame 16 on this one, I think that's the spot that I want to use. Now in this montage we have these additional notifications, and it's going to be notifying to this slot right here called default grouped default slot, and that's where I'm going to leave it. We could create a new slot. I'm just going to leave this one at the default one. And right here where it says notifies, so if I move over along the notifies line to the white line right here and right click, and let's try it again, right click on it, okay, go back to frame, yeah, click right here in the notifies. Let's try that again. And right click. Okay, not working for me. Oh, that's because I gotta be in the right line. Not on the title part of the notifies. Down here where the number 1 is. Okay, what we want is just want this little menu to pop up, and we want to add a notify, and it's going to be a new notify. And we're going to give this a name, and we're going to call this attack. Probably just call it attack. Well, you know what? I'll just call it attack for right now. Good enough. Tells me what it is. It's what I want it to be. All right. So now I have created this montage. I'm going to go ahead and save it. Right here, we have this little notification that's going to come out so that as it's attacking me, this is the point where it's going to start taking points away from me once we set that up in our blueprints for our character. Okay, so I can go ahead and close this. We don't need that now. We're going to go back to Oh, you know, this menu up reminds me of something. Earlier on, when I was looking at my spider, the material on it was really kind of fuzzy looking, and it wasn't very clear. And the little eyes and the feet weren't coming up. I'm not sure what happened, but for whatever reason, the material didn't, my material anyway, didn't seem to load the correct texture. So even though I had the right material here, I had to hit the down arrow and select my color 2. And once I did that, it seemed to fix my material. So if that's something that's happening to yours, if it doesn't look kind of like this with little eyes on it, that's probably the reason why. So you can go ahead and fix that the same way I just did. All right, so now we'll go close this material. Don't need that open. The next thing we want to do is we want to go here to our animation graph, and we want to go all the way up to the top level here. Okay, right in here. And we're going to change a few things in this. So that notification that we just created, that attack notification, we need to put that in here so that when the animation gets close enough to start doing that attack, it will do that for us. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and right click right here, and we're going to type in slot. And what we want is slot default slot. Okay, and this right here. And then over here on their asset browser, I'm going to just double check, make sure the attack 2 animation montage is in here, and we can kind of click and drag it over and drop it in. It doesn't really seem to do anything, but we'll do that anyway. And now the next thing we want to do is we also want to include that die animation that we have, right? And I'm using the die 1 animation, so we're going to go ahead and drag and drop this into here. And again, we're not going to be able to test some of this until we get some of our additional stuff set up for our character, but we're going to go ahead and just kind of get everything, or all additional blueprints finished up so that the attacking and the health is lost, so that it reaches the die state. Once we get that far, all of our animations should work though. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and we're going to use a boolean for this. I'm going to right click in here, and we're going to do a blend pose by bool. Okay, right here, blend poses by bool. And what this is going to do is this is going to take our current animation and it will transition it, kind of blend the two into the die animation that we have right here. And the one thing we want to make sure that this one is that it doesn't loop. Our spider's only going to die once. Okay, so right here with it is selected, uncheck the loop animation, and that should get us set for that. So now we're going to go ahead and pull out our dead variable, and we're going to say get. We're just going to plug everything in here now. So if it's dead, then we're going to, if it's true, we're going to play the die animation. If it's false, if our spider is still alive, then we're going to go ahead and do our regular animation. So let's go ahead and compile this and save. Let's go back into this, into our game mode, and see if our spider, okay, so right now it's still not attacking because we haven't set it up, the parameters for the attack to work either. But we have all the animation set up so that it should transition to it once we set that up. So let's go ahead and go back into our spider animation. Okay, or spider blueprint, sorry. Into our blueprints for our spiders, we're going to go to our event graph. We're going to go ahead and start getting some of this stuff to work. Okay? So right now we have this first piece right up here at the top where our character basically moves towards our enemy moves towards our character. So what we need to do now is go ahead and start setting everything up for attack and those type of things. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the, I don't think we're going to end up using this one at all. me go ahead and delete that one. We're not going to use the event actor begin overlap at this point. We may come back, you know, maybe they can open doors or something like that. We are going to use the event tick, okay? And what we want to do is, the first thing we want to check is our player character still alive in order for this next set of events to happen. Okay, so, and this is going to be for our attack animation. So what we're going to do is we're going to first pull off of here. Yeah, and we're going to go ahead and cast to BP. And now we want to get our player character. Okay, so mine is Lieutenant Bellica. I'm going to cast to this. And then what I want to do is I want to get player character. Okay, and we want the character, not the pawn. Okay. And the next thing we want to do is we want to check to see if Lieutenant Bellica or your character is dead. So type in dead here, and we're just going to get dead. And we're going to create a branch, so hold down the B key, left mouse click. So B key, left mouse click gets you the branch. We're going to pop into here. We're going to check this condition. If our character is still alive, then let's go ahead and do the next set of stuff, which in this case is attack. Okay. All right, so we're going to need to create a few more functions in here before we can actually kind of do all the attacking stuff. We need to create some variables. So let's go ahead and let me see. We already have this alive, so let's go ahead and create a variable for attack range. This will tell it how far away before it starts to do the attack on us and starts to do the animation. So this is going to be a float, okay? And we're going to compile this. And the attack range for this one is going to be whatever you want it to be. I am going to set mine for 150. Okay. And you can play around with yours depending on the spider you're using, the character you're using, but I found 150 works for this one. Now, the next thing we want to do is create a variable for how much damage that our enemy is going to do to our player character. And again, our player character doesn't have the health set up, so even though this damage is going to occur right now because we don't have it set up for our character to die, that's not going to happen. But we're going to go ahead and create this anyway, because as we start to create the blueprints for this, we're going to need to pull out some of these. So damage per hit, and we need to compile that to be able to put a number in. I'm going to set mine as something like 10 for right now, so it has to hit me 10 times. It gives me a chance to get away, right? And then we're going to go ahead and put it in for now, and we're going to create the health one. Okay. At some point maybe we'll do that right now after we get this done. It might be in the next video. All right, so now let's go ahead and get everything set up for creating the information that feeds into these. All right, so the first thing we need to do is create another function, which is going to be called is within attacking range. Okay, so we want to check to see if our enemy is within attacking range. So is within attacking range. Okay. All right, so now we've got that. Let's go ahead and check this to make sure it works. So what we need to do is set up our function here. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get our player character. Get player character. Okay. And then what we want to do is we want to get the distance to our player character. So get distance. And so you get distance to this top one right here. And this is where we're going to pull out our attack range. and we're going to get that. Or, sorry about that. I put that in the wrong spot. And I also put this in the wrong spot. That's wrong with me. That one goes there. So you can hold the Alt button, hover over this, and if you click on it, it'll get rid of it. And then what we actually want to do is we want to do a comparison. All right, let's try this again. So now what we want is we're going to pull off of here. And I'm going to do shift less than. I want float less than float. So if it's less than, the distance is less than to our attack range. And then we need to return this information. So we're going to go ahead and type in a return. Add a return node. And plug this into here. And that will give us our information. And we need to make sure that we set this one as both a pure and a const. So right over here, the little check marks, we want to make sure that this is set up as a pure and a const so that we won't have any outside functions adjusting or changing this information. And there should be return value. Okay, so we're good there. So we have that. So let's go ahead and next thing I want to do is go back up to my event graph. And if I kept everything in order, I'd know what I was doing. That would be dangerous. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this function out. Okay, and we're going to set this over around here somewhere. It is within attacking range. All right, so next thing we need to know is, okay, so it's within attacking range, and we need to set up some controls, okay? And we need to do some checks to make sure that it's not already attacking, because if it's attacking, we don't want to attack again. We want to just continue the attack. Or if it's not attacking, we want to start the attack. So those are the things we need to check. And we also need to check to make sure that our spider is alive. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create an is attacking function. So let's go ahead back in here. We're going to hit the plus on there. We're going to type in is attacking. So we can do this check to see if our character is actually attacking. So the first thing we want is we're going to pull is alive here. We're going to check to see if our spider is alive. Hold down the B button, left mouse click, so B is in boy, and we're going to get a branch. We're going to check this as a condition, and if this is true, then we're going to return the information. Okay, so we're going to add a return node, and now what we want to do is we want to use the mesh, because remember we set that up. That's where our animation is being fed into. So we're going to pull the mesh out. Okay, and we're going to get that anim instance. Oops, why can't I type right? Get anim instance. There it is. Get anim instance. Okay. And now we're going to check to see if the montage is playing. So if that montage is playing, that means that it is attacking, right? So montage is playing is right there. And we're just going to go ahead and check. So we want the montage right here of spider attack 2 anim montage. So this is what mine was. So whatever animation you went with for your attack, that's the one you want to select for there. And then we want to connect up our return node here. So now this checks to see if we're attacking. We're going to go ahead and compile it. One more thing I want to check. Make sure that this is both a pure and a const. Otherwise we won't get the right function out. Go ahead and save that. All right, wrong spot. So let's go back to our event graph, and now we can pull out the is attacking. Throw that right down here, and then we also need the is alive. Throw that in right down here. Okay, and what we want to do is we're going to set up some conditions in here. Okay. We want to pull out from here, and we're going to get an AND because we want some of these. We want these conditions to be all of them. Okay. We want to include all of these that we're going to put in. So it's an AND Boolean. Okay. And so we have this one. And for right here, we want to make sure it's not attacking. So we're going to pull out from here, type in not. We want a not Boolean. Add that there. But I have this third one I need to connect here. We can add a pin right here. So there we go. I'm going to add that pin. Plug that in here. I'm going to double click on this and create another little pin out there that I can kind of adjust and clean this up just a little bit so it's not so messy. All right. So now I've got that. So what we need to do is we need to connect these two up. And I'm going to grab these and pull them back a little bit, just give it a little bit neater appearance. So right from here, I'm going to go ahead and hold down the B key again, get a branch. So if this condition, if the character is not dead, so this needs to be a false condition going into here, so false output. And our spider is doing all of these, all three of these conditions apply. Then we're going to go ahead and throw in a deactivate, and this should be character movement. So this right here, and this will be so that basically all the deactivate piece will be if our spider is dead. It won't be doing this anymore. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and if this is true, we're going to do a deactivate. Wow, let's see if I can type today. Let's see here, deactivate. Oh, actually character movement is already a choice there, so go ahead and take that one. Delete this one. We'll just take that one. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead, and if it is attacking, we're going to play montage. Okay. And again, we're going to pull out the mesh. It's going to go right up here into instant skeleton. And we want the spider attack one, or whatever your attack anim is. Okay. And, okay, so I spoke wrong. This is not the... so basically what we're doing here is we're stopping it so that the spider isn't also walking while it's also doing the attack animation. Okay, this right here is deactivating the movement of our spider while it's doing the attack montage. We don't want the attack and the movement at the same time. We want it to stop. That way, if the player character moves out of the attack range, it will stop doing the attack, and then it will reactivate movement. And that's what we're going to put in next, is we're going to reactivate movement. So we want to activate, in this case, character movement. There we go. So that should set up our ability for our spider to now switch back and forth. Let me compile this. There we go. Save what we have. Let's go back into our level and hit play. So now, there we go. They're playing the montage. They're attacking at me. But now if I move away, they stop the montage and they run again. And then if I stop, they attack me. All right. So let's see. This next piece of it, we're going to go ahead and just finish up with our enemy. This is going to make this video a little bit longer than the 25 minutes I intended, but I would like to go ahead and just finish this piece up just so that we can kind of put everything together for our spider and then move back to our character and getting our health set up for our character and getting it so that we can also damage our spider. So let's go ahead and jump back into our blueprint for our spider. Okay. Now, I haven't been commenting any of these, so bad on me for that. Let's go ahead and select that, hit C for the comment, and this will be spider, and you can call it enemy if you want. I'm just going to call it spider movement. Okay, and then this whole piece right here is for the spider attack. Again, you can come in and color code these to whatever color works the best for you. And now we're going to go ahead and start with damage, okay? And also decrease health and things like that. So let's see here. We have our health, we have damage. Okay. We have those alive, so let's go ahead and get that going here. So event any damage is what we want to start this with. So we're going to right click right here and we're going to type in event and any damage. There we go. Okay. Go ahead and pull this down a little bit, get it all set up. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that our spider is still alive. So let's go ahead and, I already got it pulled out. So I'm just pulling a branch right here. And the condition is alive. So we're going to pull this function back out here. Connect that up for our condition. If our spider is still alive, then we can decrease health. Let's see here. Right click here. Should be an option here, but I am not pulling it up for whatever reason. And that might be because I'm needing to pull from damage here. Okay, did I accidentally hit a button somewhere? Pull off that. So if we turn off our context sensitivity, let's go ahead and pull that out. And decrease health is not coming up as an option. Should be there to know. Oh, that's because we have to make it. There we go. That would make a lot more sense instead of having, we haven't made it yet. My fault on that. So let's go ahead and create a new function. This one's going to be, you guessed it, decrease health. Decrease health. Okay. Makes a lot more sense now. All right. So for our health, we have our health selected down here. And we need to, which I missed doing before, we did compile it, but we actually need to give us a number to start with. And in this case, 100%, so 100 for our health. I'm going to go ahead and compile that, save that. And now we're going to pull our health out here. Okay, we're going to get our health. We're going to pull out from here on the top. Actually, let's go ahead and pull out another health here. Let's just do it this way. And this one we're going to set, okay? We're going to connect these two up here. Now we're going to also let's go ahead and select our decrease health. This is not a pure or const, but what we do need to do is we need to adjust our. We need to add some inputs to this, and our input needs to be damage amount. Okay, so let's go ahead and add an input, and we're going to call this, it's going to be a float, and we're going to give it a name. And this is going to be damage amount. Okay. And we're going to pull out from here. All right. And I want a negative. So I'm just going to hit the negative bar. So I want float minus floats. And we got those backwards. So let's go ahead, and if I hold the Alt button and hover over this, nope, wrong. If I hold the Control button and hover over this, I should be able to grab that and drag it down and put it there. There we go. So Control button, be able to just move the pins. And now what we want to do is we want to put in a clamp so that we don't end up with anything but numbers between the minimum of our health and the max of our health. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and right click. We're going to type in clamp. And I want to clamp float. Okay. And this is going to go into there. Move this down a little bit further. And our minimum is going to be 0 because we don't want to go any below 0. We don't want negative amounts. And our max is going to be 100. And then we're going to feed this into here. I'm going to select this again, and we're going to add an output for this as well. Go ahead and add an output. And here's my return node with the new parameter for it. And it's going to be a float, and this is going to be called health. Okay, and we're going to feed into this for our return of our health. Now we're going to go ahead and compile that and save it. And we're going to go back to our event graph. And now that we have decreased health, we can actually pull that into here. And it should be blue just like this. And we're going to go ahead and feed this in. And our input is going to be damage from here. And I'm going to go ahead and plug it in there. Clean this up a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll do this. All right, so now we've got the beginnings of that. And then our output is going to calculate the status of our spider. So we're going to put another branch in here because we need another condition. And our health, I'm going to pull out from here, and we're going to get an equals. So we want to float equal float, and this will be our Boolean amount for our condition, and we're going to leave it at 0. If it equals 0, then what we're going to do is we're going to create another function called kill AI. Okay. So let's go ahead and create that function, and we're going to call this kill. Actually, I'm not going to call it kill AI. I'm going to call it kill spider or kill. We'll call it kill enemy because this might be something we use for other enemies besides spiders. All right. So now what we want to do is we're going to pull this out, our dead out, and we're going to set it. Okay. And in this case, we're going to click in here. We're going to set it to dead. So our variable will now be set to dead. And we need yet another function, and in this case, this one is going to be called. We're going to deactivate. Movement. Okay, so let's go ahead and add the function, and we're going to call this one deactivate movement. All right, so deactivate movement, and we're going to. Actually, I don't think I need to pull that out of there. We're just going to go ahead and right-click on here. Add my case sensitivity back to this. We're going to stop movement immediately. And see, the character movement is there, so I didn't need to pull that down after all. Drag that down here. Pull that on there. And then we also want to deactivate. Let's see. And we want to straight out deactivate. And that's going to also be pulled off of character movement. And that is all there is to this function. So let's go ahead and go. So right here we've already set our enemy to dead. And what we need to do is we need to take that deactivate movement that we just created, set that in here. Put that on here. And what we want to be able to do is we're going to go ahead and fix the collision of the enemy once we kill it. We want to be able to walk over it. We want the other enemies to be able to walk over it as well, because it's now you can step on it. So we're going to go ahead and set actor enable collision. All right, let me go ahead and grab that, put that in here, and now we're going to go ahead and cast it to our character, our player character. So I'm going to pull this out, and we're going to cast to BP, and this is our player character. Okay, and we need to get character player character. Okay. And so we haven't actually created our BP game mode yet. Maybe we did. Let me see here. BP game mode. Yes, we did. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull in our BP game mode. And we're going to get game mode. And this will be for when we get ready to set up the way that we're going to instantiate enemies, and also our the way we're going to be able to manipulate our counting of that on our canvas once we get ready to set up our screen for that. And the last thing we want to do is this is going to prepare it for that casting to work onto our screen. So we're going to go ahead and okay. We're going to have to come back and do that once we get everything set up for, once we get everything set up, we'll come back in and we'll finish up that piece. That's actually going to cast it and register our alien death so that we can count it for when we start counting the number of kills that we have, or number of enemies that we've killed. So for right now, we are done with this one. We'll have to remember to come back in and set up our register alien death. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this. Go back to our event graph. And from here, we're going to pull out kill enemy. Set that to true. It's going to go in and do all that function for us. I'm going to do a little delay in here so that we have time for the animation to play. And it's going to sit on the battlefield for a moment. And then we're going to do a destroy actor. And that'll remove it from the battlefield. All right. Okay, so now with this finished, one thing I just noticed is that we need to go ahead and fix our delay here. Right now it's set at 0.2 of a second. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a 5-second delay. So we'll put 5 in there. Go ahead and compile and save that. And the next thing we need to do is we also need to go back into our viewport, select our capsule component right here, and we need to go down, and you know what, let me go ahead and show you what's happening right now first before I do this. So now if I hit play, my spiders still are not taking any damage, and the reason is because they don't have the right capsule or collision set up. So let's go ahead and go back in here to our viewport on our blueprint for our red spider, or for your spider, whatever. And then select your capsule component, and then we're going to scroll down here to where it says collision. So find where it says collision, and then right here, I'm going to go ahead and hit the down arrow. Right now it's set to pawn. I'm going to change it to custom, and then right here where it says block, I want to block all of this right here. So everything should be set to block. I'm going to compile it, save it. And now if I go back in and test this out, I should get the animation, the dying animation, and they should disappear. So let's go ahead and I'm going to back up a little bit, see what they look like. And there's the animation. Okay. So there we go. That should be it. If you want to get caught up on everything again, please visit my YouTube channel, Paul Fritz Animation, so we can get caught up on some of the game. And this is multiple videos for this. I'm trying to keep them around 30 minutes if I can. Sometimes I go over, sometimes I'm under. But anyway, so that's it for this time. If you like what you saw, please like this video, and please subscribe to my channel, Paul Fritz Animation. I'll see you next time.